Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky. You can find me on Instagram as @BeckyKnits and I think on Ravelry as Becky Mundy. Don't use Ravelry very much anymore, so yeah. Thank you for joining me again if you are a returning viewer, and if you are a new viewer then welcome. This is my podcast where I talk about my knitting, things I've been making, things I plan to make, and I probably drink too much tea and probably say too much. So welcome. I've come unprepared again with no notes, but it kind of worked okay for me last week, so we'll go with it. I have finished objects to show you this week, which is very exciting. 2 finished objects. One of them's quite small though. Oh, and I've just found more whips. Okay. It's Whip City over here, but we'll talk about finished objects first. So the first thing I have to show you is my Land of Sweets socks. The yarn is Land of Sweets from a homespun house. This was in Molly's advent calendar this year just gone. This was the big skein in that, so there it is. Vanilla socks, 64 stitch cast on a US 1 2.25mm needle. I finished these last Friday, in the evening after I'd finished podcasting. They were done, so they had been sitting on my sock blockers just waiting for me to talk to you about them today. If it had been like any other pair of socks, you know, in the year, because particularly with them being vanilla socks, I wouldn't normally wait a whole week to show them to you. I would just get them on my feet and just tell you about them. But because these are the first finished object of the year, first pair of socks for the year, I thought, well, I will save them and I will talk to you about them before I put them on my feet. So I'm really excited to wear these tomorrow. Molly's yarn always just seems to be so unbelievably soft. I don't know what she does. I don't know where she gets the yarn, but it just always seems so soft. I love it. So that is the first finished object. Second finished object is a crochet project that was very quick crochet project. Just took me like a couple of evenings, a couple of afternoons, something like that. And it is a blanket for my eldest's doll. He said to me earlier this week I'd started knitting a blanket, and he said, "Oh, are you knitting it for my doll?" And I said, "No, it's not for your doll." So he said, "Okay, you can just make me a different blanket for my doll." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll make you a blanket." And then I didn't. I just kind of forgot about it. And at some point later in the week, he said to me, "Oh, why don't you come and sit next to me and you can bring your knitting? You can, because you're making a blanket for my doll, aren't you?" So I was like, "Yes, I am. Let me just pop upstairs." And so then I had to start. And yeah, it didn't take me very long at all. So there it is. It's a chunky yarn. I did bring it down. It is 2 colours of Stylecraft Special Chunky. There's a midnight, and then the kind of grey colour is silver. So yeah, and he's also asked now for a little pillow as well to go with it. So he wants it to be round as well. So I'm going to do just sort of this centre bit, 2 of those, and then I'll make a little pillow out of it. I've got a little idea of how that's going to work, so that's my plan for that. I'll probably make that this afternoon because it won't take me very long to do, and then he'll have that when he gets home from school. So those are my 2 finished objects. I've got a lot of whips. I've really embraced this just work on whatever I want and knit what makes me happy. I've thoroughly embraced this, and I have got a lot. I think maybe it's not that much. Try and convince myself it's okay. So I worked, I actually don't think I worked on this at all since I showed you last week, so maybe we can ditch that one. This is my, no, I think maybe I've knit like a handful of stitches. I think I was halfway through a row last time I showed it to you. So yeah, it's just a garter stitch blanket made from my Christmas in July from 2021 from The Lonely Knitter. That's one of the colours. So yeah, it's just a 12 skein 12 mini skein set. Little ball there. So so that's what that is, and I'm still enjoying it. I need to buy more. I don't think I mentioned actually what I was holding it together with. It is 4-ply, and then I'm using a like lace weight. It's baby Surrey alpaca and mulberry silk. I hadn't realised it was so fancy. Cumulus, my brain, from Fibre Spats, and it is in the colour Pearl. So yeah, I need to get more of this because I think I have just started the second ball and I only bought 3 balls, so I need to get another because it's taking up more of that than I thought it would. So that's not really had any work on it. After I cast off my socks, I had really intended to cast on a plain pair of socks, but I didn't do that. I cast on another like lightly textured pair of socks in the yarn that I said last week I was going to cast on with next. So this is the Tropical Fish colourway from Scale and the Stitch, and here it is. I'm doing just, like I say, just a very textured pattern, a very lightly textured pattern. And I'm really liking it. It's simple enough that it's holding my interest. So I haven't, as you can see, haven't worked on that very much at all. I also worked very briefly on these socks, which is my bookshelves pattern, which is not out yet, but I still intend to put out at some point. I wasn't working on these because I was knitting them on double pointed needles, which is not my favourite anymore. It used to be my go-to method for making socks, but since I switched to doing the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, I've also switched to doing magic loop because they kind of came at the same time. I don't really know how to do a heel flap and gusset magic loop. I never learned to do that. So I had to put a heel flap and gusset into these socks for the design that I'm doing. So I had to do them on double points, and then I just, after I'd gotten past the heel flap, I just put them down because I didn't want to work on the double point needles. So I put my final pair of circulars into these, which meant that I then couldn't cast on any vanilla socks. So I've not got any vanilla socks on the needles at the moment, but I'm hoping that if I can hurry up and finish one of these pairs, then I can get a plain pair on. I actually dipped these in my coffee, and you can see I had meant to deal with that before it dried. I just have to, when I photograph them, I'll have to photograph them on the other side. Oh no, that's got coffee on it as well. Bummer. Anyway, so that's that. The yarn for this is another Homespun House colourway. I've not been talking about my project bags. I'll go back and talk about my project bags in a minute. So it's a Homespun House, and it is Flash Dance sock set, which I think was one of the ones that she did in the summer of last year. But yeah, so that's that one. I love this sock set. So I'm excited for these to be finished. This project bag is one that I made myself, and it's got my space cats and things on it. I really like that one. This one is the bag that came with the Christmas in July advent calendar from the Lonely Knitter, and the bag is made by Socan Jo. I think has a shop now. I don't think she had a shop at the point that she did this bag, but she does now, I think. But I really like this one. It's good size for a little blanket, and I like the handles, and it's got a drawstring, so that's nice. And then this one is also another one that I made myself. It's got fairies on it. So I think this one's actually got a little pocket inside as well, which feels extra fancy. What's this one? Okay, so I worked a little bit on my Cozy Memories blanket. I don't know if I showed this to you last week, I can't remember. No, I didn't show it to you last week, did I? So I knit a couple of squares. I think I knit this row and this one since last week. I sort of embraced Scrappy Sunday and worked on this little bit. So this is my centre point of the blanket, and I'm working like out. I don't know if you can see. I'm working the mitres out from the centre point. So usually you sort of start in a corner, I think, and then you work that way. But yeah, working out of the centre. So this was my first square. So yeah, I'm still enjoying that one. It's fun to do. And I am trying to get into the habit of when I finish a project, so like when I finished these, I wound off, from what was left over, I wound off 10 grams and put that in I've got a basket living over there, which has just got like piles of 10 gram minis in, and they are what goes into this. And yeah, and then I can add them into this when I'm ready. I'm not even going to pretend that I am organised enough to like finish a project and then immediately knit the scrap into the blanket. It just doesn't. I don't always want to knit on a blanket, so, and I'm knitting what I want to knit on, so there we go. This, I think I showed you this project bag last week. I have my socks in it, I think, and it is from Homespun House and Knitting Unicorns. Yeah, it's a really good size. I love Christmas bags all year round. Also, I don't have a huge number of like non-seasonal bags. I feel like my bags are like Christmassy and Halloweeny / autumny, and that's it. I don't really have anything else. And then last but not least, it's not as bad as I thought. I cast on another blanket. I haven't worked on my crochet blanket. I'm in the middle of a row. I haven't worked on my crochet blanket at all since last time I showed it to you, because I haven't felt like it. But I do kind of feel like I want to work on it today. So we'll see. I want to prioritise making a little pillow for Aiden's doll. But then if I still feel like I want to do some crochet, I might work a little bit on my many squares blanket that I showed you last week. But I did cast on a new blanket because I don't have enough blankets on the go, apparently. And that is the Habitation Throw. And this is one that I've been wanting to knit for quite a long time, and I was really kind of excited to get to. But when I first looked at it, I found the pattern wasn't laid out how I was expecting it to be laid out, and yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. It feels like I have to figure stuff out, so I put it aside. And there's actually nothing really, it's not complicated. There's nothing really to figure out, but it says you can use 24 like 10-gram minis. So it's designed for like an advent calendar, and you basically knit the section until you have almost run out of yarn, and then you swap colours on the next row. And I was like, well, that's going to mean that the stripes will all be different lengths, and that didn't appeal to me. And also I hadn't wound 10-gram minis. I thought the pattern was going to say knit so many rows and change colour, knit so many rows and change colour, but it doesn't say that. So if you're going to make it with like leftover yarn and you want to do it as the pattern says, where you use up 10-gram minis, make sure you've wound the 10-gram minis before you start. Like if you're using scraps, wind off 10 grams from your ball, because otherwise you will be putting more yarn into it than the pattern calls for, and it just make the blanket bigger, I guess. But yeah, I didn't want my stripes to all be different sizes. I wanted them all to be the same size, so I am just knitting 10 rows with the colour, and then I'm changing colour. So it's going to be really scrappy. I was planning on making it look less scrappy, but yeah, once I realised how the pattern worked, then I was like, okay, it's just going to be a scrappy blanket. So this is it so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's so much fun to knit, and I don't know why it's so much fun, but it really just is so much fun. I think it's because it's like 10 rows of pretty mindless knitting with not an awful lot to do, a little bit of increasing, and then you get to change colour. And so it's just really interesting to see how the different colours are like working together. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So this is like the thing I'm working on most at the moment. I'm sure once the rows get really long, I will lose interest. But for now, I'm loving it. And I have got lots and lots of scraps. I've been sort of splitting my scraps up everywhere. So I've got 10-gram balls in my basket for my Cozy Memories blanket. And then I've got bags here of minis and scraps. And then once I've used my 10 rows of these, I've got another bag over here with like leftover scraps that I've yet to decide what to do with. So the only thing I need to bear in mind is that because I'm knitting so many rows, I think when it gets to like the really long rows in the middle of this blanket, I don't know if some of my scraps will be big enough, because I think it might be more than 10 grams to knit 10 rows. I'm not sure how many like rows there are in 10 grams. Yeah, when it gets really wide, how many rows am I going to get out of 10 grams? So I need to just bear that in mind. I've got some like big leftovers from socks, so I'm kind of saving these now for later in the blanket. And there's another big one, and then this one. This is one of my favourite yarns. This is Fear of the Dark from Castleview Yarns. Love it. Yeah, and then this one, which was from my January socks last year. And last but not least is the leftovers from my Land of Sweets socks from this year. So those ones I'm kind of now trying to keep a hold of. I've also got a couple of 20-gram minis in here. Quite a few 20-gram minis in here, actually. But I'm trying to use up the 10 grams first. So I've got a couple of like homespun house minis, and then I'll put that one over here for later. Yeah, so yeah, but I've got lots of minis, and I've got some left over from my advent calendar last year, the as in 2021, the very nerdy advent calendar from the Lonely Knitter. I didn't put into my stripy top that I made, so and I've decided I'm not going to make the sleeves any longer on that, so I don't need to keep hold of the minis anymore, so they'll start going into the blanket as well. So I've got lots of things that can go in. I just need to make sure, like I say, that I remember to keep some big leftovers. But I don't see this being something that finishes really quickly. I think I'll probably like come back to it. So there'll be time for me to like gather more minis, more leftovers, things like that. And I've probably got some things in my stash that I would be happy to like break into if I needed to add more. So yeah, so that's everything that I'm working on at the moment. Honestly, the thing that I'm working on most is the habitation throw, but the weekend's coming up, and so I might have some like odd little points where I'm like knitting in the car or knitting in a cafe, and I'm not carrying the habitation throw round with me because it doesn't take me long to get through 10 rows. So so I'm not taking it with me because I'd have to take loads of yarn with me as well. I thought I'd go through actually and tell you what yarns are in here so far, if I can remember. So this one is Fibre Spates, like rose gold or blush or something like that it's called, and I made a sweater for a friend's little girl out of that one. This one is leftovers from my Mandy's Makings Share a Pair Easter baskets. I made some shorty socks out of those for my mum. This one is an opal, I think. This is also opal. It's like a tiger colourway. I've had this for years. This one is a mini from a homespun house. This one is the contrasting colour from the Share a Pair Easter basket. This one is a hand-dyed. It's my hand-dyed yarns, my Fruit Loops colourway. This is one of the Bumblebee Acres Stranger Things colourway. Can't remember, is it just called Stranger Things, I think? And this is another of my hand-dyed yarns, but I didn't name it, I don't think. I just dyed it. I made some socks out of it. It was nice. And now I'm working with leftovers from this. I made a pair of, this is West Yorkshire Spinners Wood Pigeon. I made a pair of socks that reminded me of Parma Violets. So that's where I'm at the moment. Oh, that's nice. I might put a marker in there to tell me that I told you the names of those yarns, and then I can tell you what I've added since. I know, I'll put this one in. I've got the other marker on here is I've got a couple of markers actually. This is a little dinosaur from my Lonely Knitter Advent Calendar, as is this little Game Boy. And then I've got my little ghost with a little cinnamon donut on it. That's from Simply Serving. What did I just do? I just threw something somewhere. Ah, that. Knocked that off. Oh, I've just found another whip. Let me just move my stitch marker before I forget, and then I will show you the last whip, which is very much a whip. Very whippy. Okay. I am knitting using the Rowan Pure Wool Superwash Worsted in colourway green, I'm not sure, 00200. It's a nice dark forest green, and I'm making the Maze fingerless mitts from Tin Can Knits. These were supposed to be for my partner, but I think they're going to be too small, so they'll be for me, and I'll have to make him a different pair. So, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I've just started increasing for the thumb gusset, I think I think I'm halfway through a round. Yeah, I've just started increasing for the thumb gussets. And they've stalled. But they've been a super quick knit so far, so maybe I'll pick those back up. I'm just seeing everything and wanting to knit on all of it. Oh, drink some tea before it goes cold. Okay, I have got a couple of acquisitions to show you, only 2 this week. So the first one I'll show you is if you are subscribed to a Homespun House Patreon and you get the minis and you haven't received yours yet, or you just haven't looked at them yet, look away now because I'm going to show you mine. Are you looking away? Good, right. So here they are. These are the December minis. They are so pretty. Yes, very excited. These are I've put them down now so you can look back. I'm gonna put those into my habitation throw. They'll probably go in pretty soon. Yeah, I subscribed to a Homespun House I always subscribe on Patreon to a Homespun House for Vlogmas because I love watching their Vlogmas. And this year I was like, you know what, I'll treat myself and I'll get the minis as well. And I thought I was just gonna subscribe for December and then cancel it. And then I forgot to cancel it in January, and then the minis arrived, and now I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be cancelling this anytime soon because they're just so lovely. And I don't know why I'm surprised because I love Molly's yarn. But anyway. And then the second thing that I received is from the Knitting Goddess, and it's part of their Pride Flags range. So this is a self-striping yarn, and I got the non-binary colourway because I am non-binary, so I thought I'd make myself some funky socks to wear. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I think what I'm going to do, because I kind of want these to be like extra long. Usually I just do like 20 rib rounds. Why can I not talk now? Usually just do like 20 rounds of ribbing, and then I'll knit for maybe 50 rounds just plain, and then I'll do my heel. But I kind of want these to be longer so that they stick out of my shoes more if I'm wearing like a cropped leg trouser or something. So so I want to make them longer, but I don't know. I thought about doing them toe up, but I have not had great success with toe up socks in the past. So I think what I'm going to do is just use those to knit the leg, and then I will stop and then knit the foot, like the heel and the foot, in just a plain black, and then might do a bit of something funky at the toe just before the toe degreases, if I feel like I've got enough yarn. So I might split it into 2. We'll see, because I want them to be the same if I can get them to be matching, but we'll see. So that's it. That is what I have bought. I really want to cast these on now, but I don't have any more circular needles, and I'm kind of like, I could just buy some more circular needles, but I also kind of want to finish something. So this is where my knit what you want to knit thing comes, like the conflict comes in, is I don't want to have like 600 pairs of circular needles, but I don't have enough circular needles, so I'm just going to cast on all the socks that I want to cast on. So I don't know. So that's that. I just can't help myself. I'm going to knit on this a little bit while I talk to you, because I just love it so much. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I was going to show you last week. I was going to talk to you about a new hobby that I have started doing. So I'll talk to you quickly about that. I'm just going to go and get something, so bear with me. So the new hobby that I have taken up is lino cup printing. Here is one of the things that I have printed recently. And I have been really enjoying it. So I'm just checking if it's dry. I've been really enjoying it. And I've actually got I'm going to a market. I'm going to have a stall at a market. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Which is like, I'm saying that now and thinking, oh, it's really soon. But I'm really excited about that. So it's going to be interesting to see how people respond to my stuff. So that's exciting. So if you're in the Norwich area on like the first weekend in February, then head on down to like I think it's called the Shoemakers Factory, and I'll be there. So Saturday and Sunday, first weekend of February. So yeah, I'm excited to sell some prints, but I'm also really nervous. So yeah, but I don't know if there's any other life stuff to update you on since last time. Not really, I don't think. I went into my eldest's school today, which was so adorable. I've been learning sign language, and I went in to teach them a couple of signs from the Gruffalo story, so like animal signs, and a few other things like that. So that was really fun to go in and see, you know, the classroom, what they do in the morning and things like that. So it was really sweet. But yeah, my eldest had a bit of a hard time when I left because he just wanted me to stay. But I'll pick him up on the bike later, so that'll be exciting. But as in the like my cycle bike, my pedal bike, not a motorbike or something. But just thought I'd throw that in there. You thought that I was going to pull up on the motorbike to pick up my child. No, I don't have a motorbike. But yeah, so that was really fun. Really nice to meet some of his friends and meet his teacher a bit more. Yeah, I was really nervous about going in because children can be like horrible sometimes, but they were all really lovely, and one of them drew me a picture before I left, so that was really sweet. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. I've been doing quite a bit of knitting, so that's been quite nice. So I honestly hadn't expected to be back again like the next week after starting. I thought I was maybe going to be like easing it in and just that it would maybe be like maybe one a month for a little while, and then maybe one every other week. But I was like, yeah, I've got stuff to talk about and I want to talk about it, and I really enjoyed it last week, getting back into the habit of doing it. So here I am. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching last week and commenting and like messaging me on Instagram to say that you were like happy that I was back and things like that. It's yeah, it's nice to chat. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna go. Could talk forever, but I don't have to. So I'm gonna go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.